She rock that Loli Cosmetica, that Loli Cosmetica.
Now we have our model Emma. She's actually already wearing the Pure Press Mineral Foundation. So we're going to add a little bit of colour initially. So first off, I'm going to use a little bit of a bronzer. Use a medium or a large shaped brush. Just dip into a little bit of the minerals. Again, take a little bit at a time. That way you're not going to overload or end up with anything resembling a clown. So with a bit of bronze or contouring, we're just going to add a little bit to the areas of the face that would catch the sun. So if you think any areas of the face that gently stick out, you always get slightly sun-kissed on the forehead, the end of the nose, the chin, and then you can also use this just underneath your cheekbones to give yourself a little bit of definition. Just turn this way for me, that's it. Just run that under there. So it's not drastically changing the face shape, but it's just giving a little bit of a sun-kissed glow. Then pop your chin back for me. You can also add a little bit just under the chin and along the jawline, and this helps sharpen up the look of the face. It's a really good trick if you're going to have any photographs taken, so if you're going to a party or a wedding or anything like that, it just means your face looks nice and sharp, and it's quite slimming on the face as well. There we go, just a hint of colour. Now we're going to follow that by adding some blush. So with blush, we're not going to go too bright. If you wanted to make a statement, you could choose a nice bright pink and then maybe match it with a bright pink lipstick, but keep the eyes nice and nude. So we're going to go fairly light with this one. Again, take a little bit at a time. And the trick is if you smile, that's it, your apples of your cheeks actually pop out. So that's where you would naturally blush. So just gently start adding a little bit of colour from the apple of the cheek and blending out. Turn this way for me, that's it, smile again, that's it. We're just going to add a little bit of colour. This has got a nice little tinge to it as well, so it's slightly iridescent, so you get that nice little sheen. Again, less is more, so we'll start with a small amount, just work it out, and that way you won't end up feeling like Bobo the Clown. There we go. So now we're looking nice and healthy. Now we're going to move on to the eyes. Now, Emma likes having a little bit of a dramatic eye, so we're going to do that today. Now, as you can see, Emma's got beautiful deep brown eyes. So with colours, as a rule of thumb, you're always going to suit the colour that you've got in eyes. So for Emma, she could wear lovely warm golds and browns and creams, and they'll suit her eye colour. But because we want to make them stand out a little bit more, the more you contrast against your eye colour with your eyeshadow, the more they're going to stand out. So today we're going to use lots of cool tones, silvers and greys, a little bit of blue, and give her a nice smoky eyed look, and then it will really make the brown of her eye pop out. So we're going to start with, again, as we did before, our lightest colour first. So we're going to use that as a base. Taking a small sort of flat brush, you just shut your eyes for me, Emma, that's it. Then just gently take that right across the lid of the eye. Keep working it across. With this look, because we're going quite dramatic, you can also take it right up to the brow bone. So just follow the arch of your eyebrow, take it all the way out. And you kind of want to stop your eyeshadow. If you imagine there's an invisible line going from the corner of your eye to the corner of your eyebrow, you just want to stop your eyeshadow there, and that keeps it nice and in line. And also, if you bring it out, it can actually start dragging the eye down, which isn't the look anybody's going to be going for. Take a little bit more of that light colour, and again, just gently sweep that over the full length of the lid. Again, we're going to take a little bit more, and we're just going to work that up into the brow bone. There we go. Lovely. Open your eyes for me, Emma. That's great. So already we can see how we're getting that nice little sheen. It's starting to bring out her eyes, and now we've got our base. It's also much easier to be mixing your darker colours into a lighter base. You get a much more blended effect. You don't end up having sort of a bruised look. Next we're going to take our second colour, which is a lovely sort of pearlized, slightly iridescent blue, which is going to really bring out Emma's nice brown eyes. So again, take a small amount at a time. You can always use the back of your hand as well if you want to, just to rub any excess on. You're not sort of haven't got powder dropping everywhere. And then if you shut your eyes again from here, so this time we're just going to gently start pressing that colour. Again, work from the outside and bringing it in. Just going to gently press. And you're building up that colour, but keeping control. And this way for me, that's it. Again, we're just going to gently press. And be gentle with your eyes, you know, they've got to last you a lifetime, so you don't really want to be poking them around and pulling them. You can just use a good brush and small strokes, and it will go on nice and easily. The minerals are amazing because they're such a high pigment, you hardly have to use any, so they last you a long, long time. And they go on really easily because they haven't got any talc in them. So talc is the ingredient in eyeshadows and blushes and makeup that makes it really difficult to get it out of the pot, and you feel like you're scrubbing into that product for ages just to try and get a little bit, and then it doesn't really stick onto the skin. We're just going to build up that little bit of colour. Open your eyes again for me. Lovely. So now we've got this beautiful sort of iridescent effect starting. And we're going to move on to our darkest colour. So I'm going to change to a slightly smaller brush. Now we're going to layer on our third and final colour. So this is going to give us the smoky effect that we're looking for. So smoky doesn't mean that it has to be grey or black. It can be any colour that you like. You could do a smoky green, a smoky blue. This is kind of a charcoaly sort of colour with a little bit of blue in it. So we can use a really small brush. Turn this way for me. That's it. Shut your eyes again for me. So with the darker colour, just again very gently start to build up the colour. You can actually take this right the way along the lashes. You don't have to cover the whole eye. If you want to make it look really professional, the trick is to kind of look like you've got the colour when your eyes open without it being a big block of colour all over the lid. So just going to build that up. Do small strokes that give you control, and just work the colour onto the skin. Blend out any lines that you see. Open your eyes for me a second. Okay, that's looking good. Shut your eyes again. And just keep building that up. We're just going to finish off that little bit of colour, building it up on that side. And then turn this way for me. And then do exactly the same. There, lovely. So again, just gently start adding the colour onto the eye. Start at the outer corner and work your way in. And the longer you take to do this, and the smaller amount of product you apply at a time, really the kind of better result you'll get, especially when you're just starting off. This is something you're doing for the first time. Take your time and you'll find that you'll get a really good result. And don't use a brush that's too big either. This is quite a small eye area that you're trying to contour in. Just gently take a little bit of product at a time, build it up. You get this beautiful kind of iridescent, slightly grey, smoky eye against Emma's lovely brown eyes, so it's really going to stand out. You get any little corners or any little lines, just blend them out. And use your brush or finger. Work a little bit more in there. Shut them again. Just pressing a little bit of time. These products are really versatile as well, so what you can do, if you're a bit worried about using something that's loose, you can actually wet the brush. So these products are really versatile. If you want to use them wet, you can. If you're a little bit worried about using a loose product, you can just wet the brush and just dip into them, and they'll go into almost like a cream consistency. And that can be a little bit easier to apply, especially when you're starting out. So just building up that colour. Lift your eyes for me again. Lovely. Just look ahead. So now we've got that lovely little bit of colour, and it's just started off a little bit darker towards the lashes, and we're fading out. So now we're going to give ourselves the smoky effect underneath the eyes. So we're going to use, again, this brush has got a nice sharp kind of tip to it, edge. If you look up at the ceiling for me, Anna, we're just going to come under the lashes, just look that way, that's it. We're just going to gently apply that colour, so work from the outside in. And because we're doing a smoky effect, we can go a little bit stronger than you might do on a softer eye. It's really gorgeous against her eye colour. And turn this way for me. That's it. So again, just gently come in under those lashes. Look right up for me. That's it. Brilliant. And turn to the front again. And just turn this way one more time. Look up again. That's it. Just keep checking what you're doing in the mirror, and then that way you can keep an eye on it. That's looking really nice now. So what we want to do is finish off with a little bit of a mascara. And come out to this side. So I'm going to put the mascara on the back of the hands. Now this is something you just do when you're applying it on models or other people for hygiene. So if it was yours, you could just use the brush out of the mascara itself. Just going to do that. Take our little disposable spoolie. And if you can just look down for me and just blink whenever you need to. Keep looking right down at the floor. That's it. Just blink when you want to. Some nice dark lashes. These mascaras are wonderful because they're not actually going to dry out your lashes. If you've ever used, but I'm sure you've tried lots of different types of mascara, and some of them can make the hair of your lashes feel really brittle and dry and really stiff looking, and can be really hard to layer up. Whereas because this is paraben free, it's got no nasties in it, you're going to get a beautiful feathered kind of look that doesn't look artificial. And you can really build this up, so if you want to give yourself very dramatic lashes, just keep building up the product until you get the fullness that you want. Put down again for me, that's it. Again, just blink when you need to.
Yeah. She rock that Loli Cosmetica. That Loli Cosmetica.